Hey guys, what is going on? It is Karl here, back with another episode and revisiting the good old HTC 10, which has been out now for the last 2.5, almost 3 months, which is nuts how fast this year is going by. But the HTC phones in general are ones that always tickle my heartstrings. Whenever a new one comes out, I get super pumped. The HTC M7, HTC One, the M7, when that came out, that was the very first Android device that I switched away from my beloved iPhone, and I love that thing. It was a beast, it was built like a tank, it had front-facing boom sound speakers, it just looked way better, performed way better than an iPhone, I thought, and I sadly didn't agree with the M8, the M9, and now we have the 10. We will kick things off with, of course, design, and I think this is where HTC has really hit a stride. They've really got back to their roots and really replicated the success of the M7. It's just gorgeous. I mean, look at this thing. I'm gonna say my favorite phone, design-wise, of 2016. I prefer this over the S7 as it has an all-metal body. You don't see any fingerprints on the back. And Apple, take a few notes of this color. My God, all black everything. Gorgeous. And of course, if you are not fond of the metal backing or the colorways that HTC offers, you can always wrap it in a solid skin, and if you want it to look like concrete, of course, D-Brands has got you hooked up. They've got a ton of other skin colors as well, so make sure you check them out. Their info naturally linked in the description box to get you some very crazy color options if you're not into concrete. The front features absolutely no branding, which I'm a huge fan of. Samsung, you should take a little note here. And unfortunately, we only have one speaker or front-facing speaker on the front. No boom sound anymore, just like the last gen, but I'll get to that more in a bit. Otherwise, the design is just spot on. We've got chamfers on the back, completely metal as I mentioned. We've got a USB-C port down at the bottom, and everything just feels perfect, premium, nice to hold in your hands. And to wrap up the design, we have a nice little slot on the side to fit in your micro SD card, up to 2 terabytes, which is nuts. If you can fill that on a phone, that is impressive. We've got a fingerprint sensor flanked by 2 capacitive buttons on the side. Feels a tad bit weird since it isn't a physical button coming from an iPhone 6s Plus and even my S7 Edge. Slightly weird that I don't have that satisfaction of pressing down, but that's a tiny little thing that I'm sure most people won't take too much attention to. Switching on over to the display, which I'm a huge fan of surprisingly. This is a 5.2-inch screen, which is the sweet spot in my opinion for smartphone screens. Not too big, not too small, just a bit of Goldilocks right in that little golden zone. It is an LCD panel at 2560 by 1440, isn't super AMOLED like some other competitors, but I think has one of the nicest color representations, isn't too oversaturated, isn't too cool like the LG G5. I think HTC hit a home run on this screen. Maybe the only thing, when you switch it off, it doesn't have an always on screen like the S7, like the LG G5. Would have liked to see that maybe in the next one. Performance-wise, it rocks the latest chipset, so you don't need to worry. Every single thing that you throw at the 10, it should handle and will handle without any sorts of hiccups. It's got this Snapdragon 820, Adreno 430 GPU, 4 gigs of RAM, coupled with a solid operating system. HTC Sense is one of the lightest skins over top of Android, and I am gonna say, since the beginning, since the M7 has been my favorite Android skin over top, and it just gets even simpler every year. They actually work with Google to remove a lot of the bloatware, a lot of the extra overlay, and for me, it just works and it looks gorgeous. Getting to the camera, which I'm gonna say is becoming the most important feature for a smartphone. For say myself, this is sadly where the 10 lets me down. It's good, it's just not perfect. It doesn't compete with the likes of say the S7. In good lighting conditions, like a beautiful day like today, it takes very solid shots. Once we get into low light though, that's where things get a bit shady, and I had real issues with a lot of flaring from the lighting. Here's some sample shots though. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Day-to-day use, the 10 has just been such a beast and a pleasure to use. It fits perfectly into my hand. It handles every single thing that I throw at it, whether it is Slither.io sadly is the game that I play the most, or any other 3D games that I throw at it. Multitasking, checking my emails, watching video content. Literally, this thing performs perfectly, and I honestly can't complain about that. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this might be one of the most underrated smartphones of 2016. This and the S7 are definitely my two favorite Android devices so far. Slightly let down by the camera, but the performance, the build, my slight affection to HTC, I would definitely recommend this thing. I'm really curious on your thoughts on the 10, whether you have it, you're planning to buy it. Do a lot of you love HTC, or do you think they're just not even relevant anymore, which is sad since I've always loved these guys. If you guys like this video though, be sure to go nuts over on that like button, as it does help me out a bunch. You will definitely see the 10 featured in one of my future tech travel bags, as I will be using this a lot over the next year, and possibly this will be featured as a giveaway as the year progresses. So make sure you stay posted, make sure you sub to the channel, and I will catch the rest of you in either one of my next episodes or vlogs. Peace.